Yo, what's going on YouTube? What's going on everybody, man? Welcome back to the channel. How you guys doing out there today, man? Welcome back. So if you're new here, I've done Taxi from Harry Chapin. Today we're going to be checking out Sequel. All right, I'm excited to get into this, man. So with the Taxi version, some of us had different perspectives. All right, I think he was happy in his life. I think sometimes you set dreams growing up, you don't reach them, you can still be happy with your circumstances. Some people thought, hey, it was a miserable kind of ending for both of them, all right? She's faking to be happy in her marriage, and he's getting high in his cab. He didn't reach his dreams. I thought they had a different point of view. I thought she, of course, I don't think she was happy in life. I think she was pretending, still acting as she was. But I think he was cool, man, just getting high, driving the taxi, saying, hey, man, I'll make the best of my circumstances. I feel all right. So, but I don't know. We'll jump into the sequel here. Okay, maybe the sequel is going to paint more of the picture for me, and I can see where you guys are coming from, or some of you guys are coming from with the more sad outlook. But I was looking for the hero outlook, the winner outlook. But let's see. Sequel should be able to fill in some of the blanks or not. I don't know. Let's go ahead and hit play and continue the story of Taxi here today, man. Here we go.
So here she's acting happy inside her handsome home, and me, I'm flying in my taxi, taking tips and getting stoned. I got into town a little early, had 8 hours to kill before the show. First I thought about heading up north of the bay, then I knew where I had to go. I thought about taking a limousine, or at least a fancy car, but I ended up taking a taxi, 'cause that's how I got this far. You see, 10 years ago it was the front seat, driving stoned and feeling no pain. Now here I am straight and sitting in the back, hitting 16 Parkside Lane. The driveway was the same as I remembered, and a butler came and answered the door. He just shook his head when I asked for her and said she doesn't live here anymore. But he offered to give me the address that they were forwarding our letters to. I just took it and returned to the cabbie and said, I got one more fare for you. And so we rolled back into the city, up to a 5-story old brownstone. I rang the bell, it had her name on the mailbox. The buzzer said somebody's home. And the look on her face as she opened the door was like an old joke told by a friend. It'd taken 10 more years, but she'd found her smile, and I watched the corners start to bend.
Okay.
And she said, how are you, Harry? Haven't we played this scene before? I said, it's so good to see you, Sue. Had to play it out just once more. Play it out just once more.
I'm ready to see where this goes.
She said, I've heard you flying high on my radio. I answered, it's not all it seems. That's when she laughed and she said, it's better sometimes when we don't get to touch our dreams.
She learned she got her hand burned by acting out that life.
That's when I asked her, where was that actress? She said that was somebody else. And then I asked her why she looked so happy now. She said, I finally like myself.
Nice.
At last I like myself.
Beautiful picking. Take that in.
So we talked all through that afternoon, talking about where we'd been. We talked of the tiny difference between ending and starting to begin. We talked 'cause talking tells you things like what you really are thinking about. But sometimes you can't find what you're feeling till all the words run out. So I asked her to come to the concert. She said no, I work at night. I said we gotten too damn good at leaving Sue. She said, Harry, you're right. Don't ask me if I made love to her or which one of us started to cry. Don't ask me why she wouldn't take the money that I left. If I answered it all, I'd lie. So I thought about her as I sang that night, and of how the circle keeps rolling around. How I act as I'm facing the footlights, and how she's flying with both feet on the ground. I guess it's a sequel to our story from the journey between heaven and hell, with half the time thinking of what might have been, and half thinking just as well.
Oh, okay.
I guess only time will tell.
Man, his stories are something. Harry's stories are something. They leave you with some fulfillment and hope, but then they also leave you with a little tragedy as well, man. And it's pretty common with Harry, man. He's a good storyteller. He can give you that duality of emotion, man. The high and the low at the ending still happening here for me, as it did on Taxi. All right, the high being obviously Harry flying high, the low on the last one being that she's acting in a bad marriage. This one now at the end, the high being that she has finally found herself. She's happy with who she is. She's comfortable in her own skin. And the low being that Harry is now the one acting in front of an audience, as he told her it's not all it seems to be. Okay, as many rock stars and famous people will tell you, it is a grind, man. It's a life that wears you down. It's one that they often turn to substance abuse to deal with the changes in their life, man. But to us on the outside looking in, it's all glitz, glam, glory, man. They are living the high life, but for them, there's some turmoil usually going on inside, some things that they can't cope with, some things they can't deal with. But this song at the end still made me confirm what I thought on the last song, where I was saying Harry was actually living a comfortable, happy life, and Sue was miserable. Now at the beginning of this, I was thinking more like when he said that he didn't feel any pain. I can see how you take it as he's trying to push those emotions down. He's trying not to feel pain. But then at the end here, he talks about their lives kind of flipping, their roles being reversed, right? Remember, she said she's happy. She found who she was. So to me, that says on the last song that he was happy. He was comfortable with who he was too. Then on this one, he's now acting. He's not so happy, just like she wasn't. So the fact that they kind of reversed those roles and he gave some idea to what she's feeling in her role, still once again just confirmed to me that on the last song I feel like he's definitely more happy than what he is now in a mental state. So one part that confused me was Harry leaving money behind, and I want to say the reason he left money behind was because she works, right? She said she worked that night. Um, so maybe their encounter had her late for work. Maybe she was gonna have to miss the day after all. So he was trying to say here because I came here and I ruined this day for you for making money at your job. Like, let me supplement that. But that was kind of interesting, the fact that he would leave money. So I don't know what that's indicated. You guys can help me. What you think that was about? Sequel is the ninth studio album. Man, nine. I didn't even, he's got nine out there at this point. By American singer-songwriter Harry Chapin, released in 1980. It was the last complete album released during Harry's lifetime. Okay, so this is about the album. Let's find out about, and that I think that right there it said that his last. Let me double check. I kind of jumped ahead. The last complete album released during Harry's last lifetime. So the last complete one, a 10th studio album, the last protest singer, made up of material he was working on at the time of his death, was released about 6 years after he died. Man, there you go. The title song reports further events in the lives of Harry and Sue, the characters in Chapin's hit song Taxi, and peaked at number 23 on the Billboard Hot 100. All right, so let's see if we can find out a little bit more about the story here. Released in 1980, the sequel. In 1980, after nearly a decade, listening to fans ask about what he imagined happened to Harry and Sue, y'all had to wait 10 years for the follow-up story, man. Chapin wrote and composed the sequel, which he released on the album of the same name. Written in the same style as Taxi, it continues the story of Harry and Sue, with them meeting again 10 years later, just as you had to wait for the song. That is awesome. That's cool that he incorporated that. Released as a single, sequel peaked one position higher, but lasted 2 weeks fewer on the Hot 100 than Taxi. It also remains his last appearance on the Hot 100 chart, though his last single, "Story of a Life," would reach number 5 on the Bubbling Under 100 or Bubbling Under Hot 100. Chapin joked that if he wrote a third act to the song, it would be called Hearse, so he could kill off the characters. He was tired of people asking about the ongoing story of them. Chapin died several months after sequel peaked. In the song, Harry, now a successful musician, returns to San Francisco to play a concert and has 8 hours to kill before the show and thinks of his old lover. He decides to visit the upper crust address of the 16 Parkside Lane, where he last saw Sue a decade before. After considering options of a limousine or at least a fancy car to impress Sue, he takes the taxi to the reunion. This time, sitting in the back as he's a paying customer now. He's no longer the driver. The taxi turns into the driveway past the gate. Of course, she's no longer there, and he's given a forward address to where he can find her. Far from an affluent suburban trophy wife, Sue is now a working class woman, but is happy with her life. No longer the cold and cloistered socialite, she is now a warmer and wiser woman. She tells Harry of hearing him on the radio. He shrugs it off, the hype of the stardom, right? And invites her to see his show that night. She declines, saying only, "I work at night." Harry provides a few other details on the reunion, urging listeners not to dig any deeper. If I answered it all, I'd lie. This time, it's Harry who offers money as they part, which she declines. Okay, so that was really to fulfill the story as far as what happened during their last encounter, right? Where she gave him some money and says, "Hey, I'll see you later." Harry reflects on the circle of lives, of their lives. When they were young, she had wanted to be an actress and he a pilot. 10 years ago, she was acting happy in her high-end life, and he was flying high, stoned in the taxi. Today, he acts as he's facing the footlights, and now she's flying high with both her feet on the ground, man. So yeah, it just comes full circle. Brilliant, brilliant songwriting. 10 years in the making, man. And it sounds like he wanted it to end there. Don't ask again, because I'm gonna put these guys 6 feet in the ground. But maybe you would have had a happy ending, right? Maybe we would have found out that they embraced in each other and loved each other for the rest of their lives before he finally put them in the hearse, right? And 6 feet under. But he was like, God, I get asked about this story so much that I just wanted to end. But when you're a great storyteller, so many of your stories are gonna have everybody questioning for the rest of the time. Can you complete the story? Can you let us know how it ended? So that was for sure what was happening with this one. All right, so a little bit about the background of the story. It sounds like the story has more just a little bit. First stating that he happened upon an old lover, as the cabbie in the song does. Chapin was merely on his way to a taxi license examination in New York, not in San Francisco. So Chapin, I think I say Chapin sometimes. Chapin also stated that taxi is only about 60% true. Someone else gave a story saying that this was actually about a college relationship that he had. But contrary to that story, when John Dever was asked about the song, Chapin stated that he read in a newspaper article that his ex-girlfriend had married a wealthy man. Okay, and this was the same week that Chapin was going to be getting his taxi license. It was going to go through. Right before it went through, though, the week that his license was supposed to go through, he actually got a big film job and didn't have to drive the cab anymore. But this event caused him to develop this song. So that's pretty cool, man. Well, hopefully you guys enjoyed rocking with me here today, man. Finishing the story right here with Harry and Sue, with Harry Chapin telling us a wonderful story, man. I just love his story writing. It's so good. It's so good. Well, hopefully you guys enjoyed being here today. If you did, please let me know by liking, subscribing. Check out the descriptions down below for other ways you can help the channel, including becoming a member here on my YouTube, my Patreon, or donation requests if you're enjoying the content, guys. Thank you so much, and I'll see you on the next one, man. Peace.